Here's proof, and if you have young people at home, bring them in for this, because this is going to be proof that even the smartest kids can be clueless on social media. The students who were accepted into Harvard started a Facebook group and traded offensive, racist, obscene memes that got their acceptances pulled as a result. Now, you would think they were bright kids, but why didn't they realize that these things will come back and bite you in the behind?
My problem
Everyone
wasn't
is
the
looking
social
at it.
media, though. It was that they thought these things. Like, it wasn't even that they posted them. I just think they're revealers of character. And to me, when you think of the kids you're sending off, I'd be mortified if my child partook in any of these activities. And I think it's Harvard's right to do this as a private institution, because now they are associating and putting their brand on these children. And I think, not children, they're now adults. But I mean, the idea that they found humor in any of this, because they referenced the Holocaust, abuse of minors, it was racist.
It was pretty significant. I mean, we can't show them, of course, but they did talk about the Holocaust. They talked about
Which
Mexican
isn't funny. There's no
immigrants.
angle you can come at that.
They said when the Mexican one of them says, when the Mexican kid hangs himself in the school bathroom, it's piñata time. So things of that, nasty things like that. But this meme thing is going on. Apparently, this is going on with a lot of Ivy League schools. They have these meme Facebook.
A lot of schools.
A lot of schools.
A lot of schools. This is going on. Yes, they are going
to outdo each other. But the argument that I'm hearing, and I discussed this on GMA this morning, this topic, that this is a freedom of speech issue. Why shouldn't they be allowed to trade this kind of information?
But then they pay for the
But
consequences.
there are consequences. And what's interesting, Harvard said, and some of the parents are sort of fighting back and saying, listen, they were on a private Facebook page. They're not even matriculated right now.
Your kids are not going.
Yeah.
Harvard said no.
They're not going.
They don't want, because you know what? Even if it is a free speech issue, it is a free speech issue. But if I am the institution, I don't want your kids in my school.
That's what Harvard
and they have the right to do that.
Let me just talk about.
Policy says they can retract or rescind an offer based on, get this, honesty, maturity. If a student engages in behavior that brings into question his or her honesty, maturity, or moral character, and Harvard felt that this called upon their moral character.
Those parents have been coming to their rescue their whole lives. That's why they are this way.
Well, you know, it's a very popular thing to go after people who make jokes that are inappropriate right now. So, not that I'm not defending these kids. They sound like a bunch of jerks. But there is a place for humor sometimes that alleviates anxiety and pressure on you, and you're scared of the world, and you make a joke. It's a defense.
Pinata time. If a Mexican kid hangs himself, it's pinata time. Not a joke, not funny, not good. You're not going to Harvard.
But let me tell you, when Joan Rivers was working, we miss her. I wonder what she'd be saying right now about a lot of this stuff that's going on with comedians. There was a documentary made about her called Joan Rivers, A Piece of Work, and in it, she's on a stage in somewhere in the country, I forget where, and she makes a joke about somebody deaf. And somebody in the audience yells, you know, that's inappropriate, I'm deaf, or my daughter's deaf, or somebody's deaf. And this is what she said. Let me tell you what comedy's about. Comedy is to make everyone laugh at everything and deal with things. Okay? So that is her position about comedy. And
comedy.
Yes, comedy.
Yes.
Now, she was funny.
Yeah.
So she got away with a lot of things that were considered TI.
I love Joan Rivers. She's one of my favorite, and I happen to agree with you on comedy, but one thing I do love about her is that she owned responsibility in that game, so that if she said something, no one's saying these kids at Harvard can't say it.
She never
They can say
apologized.
it. She owned it.
Never.
She didn't apologize.
No.
She said, whatever consequences I bear, I bear. This is my brand, and
say
good
that
for
word
her.
again.
She
Say that
performed.
word again.
She owned it?
No.
Brand?
Consequence.
Oh, consequence. Yes,
You can do anything. You can say
Right.
anything. You can do anything. You have free speech rights. You have all of that. But it does not mean that other people are going to respond the way you want them to. Kathy Griffin has discovered this. Bill Maher has discovered this. Piers Morgan is...
These kids.
And now you kids have discovered it. And so the reason I said young people should come into the room is because you should all know these schools that you go to, they're looking at your stuff.
Yes,
they're checking on
why
you.
are
They are
fighting?
looking at this.
We seem to be fighting the same fight, though, that Lenny Bruce fought about 75 years ago, about free speech and being able to say what you want to say.
No, they can say it, but
they don't want to face the consequences of their actions.
Stones will break my bones, but words will never harm me.
We'll be back.